see how to write AND logic and OR logic in PLC programming. So as mentioned before, click DS Launch File, double click it. You will get this window of DS Launch. From here, double click DirectSoft 5 Programming. Now you will be asked to give a project name. As I mentioned before, go back, browse, go up in your folder, create a new folder, sample 2, open, then give that file a name, sample 2, then save. And you don't have to change anything here. Now you can press OK. So this will open up our DirectSoft programming environment. You can click PLC, connect. It will select our PLC. Now we have to click this select. Then it will ask how are we programming. We are using disk. We are writing in the computer and writing it to the PLC. So use disk. Now everything is set up. Right now I cannot edit. To do the edit, I have to turn on the edit mode. Now I am going to create a OR logic in which if I press switch 2 or switch 3, I want to turn on the motor. So the logic is OR. So how can I do that? So if you go back here, the input switch 2 is named X11 and switch 3 is named X12 and our feed motor is Y10. So here I will click here and type X11, enter. So now it says whenever it is X11, we can go to the output. So it should be Y10. What this means is that whenever X11 is turned on, the power will go to Y10. Now if I want to create a OR command, I can click here, press Ctrl down arrow. So it gave me a OR command. Now I can type X12 and enter. So that became an OR command, and to close this you can press Ctrl up arrow. So that made it an OR. So what this means is X1 is turned on, you can turn on Y10, or if X12 is turned on, you can turn on Y10. Now as for every program, it should end with a END. So you have to click there, type END and click type tick tick, or you can press enter twice. So now the program is written. We have to click this accept changes. So I click accept. Now these changes are accepted. Now we have to write this to PLC. You can click this write to PLC icon. So I click that. It will ask you are doing some writing something to the system. Do you want to make the changes? So we can click yes. Now it's writing to PLC. Now it's done. Now I will turn on our camera. So now you can see what happens. If I press switch 2, the motor is turned on, and if I release that, it's turned off because this is a spring switch. And if I press switch 3, it's turned on. So the OR logic is working here. If I press switch 2, it will turn on, or if I press switch 3, it will turn on. So this is the OR logic. So coming back here, if I turn on the status, right now you can see nothing is turned on, but if I press X11, the X11 is powering on Y10. You can see that. Or if I am pressing third switch, it's powering on the Y10. You can see that. So for that, you can use this status command. So that's about OR logic. Now let's clear this. You can just click here, delete, click here, delete, click here, delete, or you can click here, shift arrow, right arrow, delete. That means I deleted that line. Similarly, shift right arrow, delete. So right now I deleted all the codes. Now I am going to write a AND logic. So if I want to write a code in which if I turn on switch 2 and switch 3, then only the motor should run. So I can write an AND logic. So we know X11 corresponds to switch 2, X12 corresponds to switch 3. If both of them are turned on, then we can turn on the motor Y10. So this is an AND logic. If X1 is turned on and X11 is turned on, then turn on Y10. And in the second line, you have to use the END command. So just click there, type END and enter. Once you have done this, accept these changes, click write to PLC. Then again it will ask, do you want to write this to PLC? Yes, I want to write this to PLC. Now it's returned to PLC. Now I will switch to the camera and show you what happens. If I press switch 2, the motor is not turned on. If I press switch 3, the motor is not turned on. But if I press both of them together, you can see it is turned on. So what's happening here? If we go back and check in our ladder logic, if I press X11, just X11 is turned on. You can see X12 is turned off. That's why Y10 is not powered. Similarly, if I press X12, X12 alone is turned on. X11 is not turned on, so power is not going to Y10. But if I press both of them together, you can see Y10 is powered on. So that's about and OR logic. Also, one other thing you have to know in PLC is you can change the mode of the program. So if you just want to write the program but you don't want to run it in the machine, you can change it to program mode. So whenever you write, the program won't be run in the PLC until you change it to run. So always make sure whenever you are running, it should be in the run mode. And whenever you want to test by not turning on the machine, but you want to see which all inputs are turned on, you can change this mode. So that's about our AND logic and OR logic.